Welcome to Collecting Chaos Talking Points. And just like every other Talking Points, I'm going to talk and show comics at the same time. Starting out with Spider-Man, or Spider-Woman number 18. And we'll go from there. Today I want to talk about what do you collect. In particular, there was a store I went to 2 or 3 years ago. And I was having a conversation with the owner after I made my purchase, and he gave me a pretty good deal on some older comics that were a little bit on the low side as far as grade concerned, that he was having trouble selling, and I happened to like them. And a kid walked in, and he went, "Oh." I said, "What's wrong?" He said, "This guy's a pain." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, "He is going to hound you to death to try to find out what you collect." I said, "Oh, okay. I'm ready for him." He said, "I don't think anybody's ready for this kid." So he walked up to the counter and reached for my bag, and I put my hand on it, and I said, "That's mine." He said, "I just wanted to see what was in it." I said, "What do you mean, what's in it?" He said, "I wanted to see what you bought." I said, "I bought comics." He said, "What kind of comics?" I said, "The kind I like." He said, "Well, what kind do you like?" And I said, "The ones that I read." He said, "Well, which ones do you read?" And I said, "The ones I like." He just looked at me and said, "DC or Marvel?" And I went, "Yes." He went, "Oh, so you collect superhero comics?" I said, "Well, I didn't say that." He said, "Well, you said when I asked DC or Marvel, you said yes, and DC and Marvel both publish superhero comics." And I looked at him and I said, "You don't know much about comics, do you?" He said, "Oh, I know a lot about comics." I said, "Well, you don't know that DC and Marvel publish more than just superhero comics." I said, "Have you ever heard of Tales from the Crypt? Tales of Suspense? Tales to Astonish?" He said, "Oh yeah, Tales to Astonish and Tales to Suspense, those were superhero." And I went, "Not originally. Originally they were horror." "Oh, so you collect horror comics?" I said, "I didn't say that." "Well, let me see what's in the bag." I said, "I told you what's in the bag. Comics." He said, "Well, I'm just curious as to what you collect." I said, "What I collect is, I told you that too. I collect things that I like." By this time, the owner was about to have a fit. I mean, he was doing everything he could do to keep from laughing, because I had the kid on the ropes, basically, because I was giving him no information at all, and he was convinced that he knew everything. But he really didn't know a whole lot, in my opinion. Finally, I tossed him a bone. I said, "Yes, I have DC comics, I have Marvel comics, I do have some superhero comics." He said, "Oh, okay, well, what do you like, X-Men or Spider-Man?" And I went, "I don't have either one of them in there." He went, "Well, you're not much of a collector then." I went, "Really? I would put my most valuable comic against your most valuable comic any day and walk all over you." "I doubt that." "I have." And this was 2 or 3 years ago. He said, "I have a very good copy of Hulk 181. I went, "Really? And what's the value of that?" He said, "About $700 or $800. And I went, "Really?" "Yeah, I have a very fine copy of Action Comics 252. He said, "I never heard of it." I said, "You never heard of the first appearance of Supergirl?" "Well, I don't collect girls' comics." "How is the first appearance of Supergirl a girls' comic?" I'm not going to show the cover. I'm going to show the backside, because the backside of this one matches up with that one pretty much. Well, kind of, not really. Anyway, they're both the same comic. They're both Star-Lord. I thought it was a wraparound. I was wrong. I'm allowed to be wrong once in a while, I think. Maybe. Maybe not. So I let the kid know I have DC Comics, I have Marvel Comics, I have Dell Comics. And he just looked at me funny. And I said, and I have some PC Comics. And he didn't have any clue what I was talking about. Said I have some Gold Key also. You do know what Gold Key are, right? Because you know a lot about comics. He went, what did they publish? I said, I have some Charlton too. Well, what are those? I said, you need to learn about comics before you talk to me again. Go away, learn about comics, come back, and we'll have an intelligent conversation. In the meantime, what I collect is none ya. He said, what? I said, none your business. What I collect is my business and mine alone. What you collect is your business and yours alone. I don't want to know what you collect. You shouldn't care what I collect. Only care what you collect. And that was it. But what I want to know is what you collect. Put it in the comments below. I'm interested. Not necessarily. You can say, I collect DC Comics. I collect Marvel Comics. I collect Tarzan. I collect Superman. I collect Spider-Man. Just whatever your mainstream thing that you collect is. I'm kind of curious. For me, right now it's pretty much Tarzan and Wonder Woman, and I also collect Superman, but I don't collect it all the time. Well, I do collect it all the time, but it's gotten to the point where each issue is so expensive I can't afford to buy them very often. I buy a Superman comic. If I don't buy a lot of a whole bunch of them, of the more recent ones that I don't have, because I really don't have a whole lot after the year 2000, $300, $400, $500 for a comic book is a lot of money. And so I don't spend it that much or that often. So yeah, I'm interested in what you collect. I'm interested in whether you like DC better than Marvel, whether you have a particular favorite character, a particular favorite author, writer, a particular favorite artist, anything like that. I'm interested in. Put the comments below, and I'll see you again tomorrow where I may have a surprise.